We complain about being cold even in heated homes, with 2 blankets, socks, and thermostats running. Yet centuries ago, Native American families slept in teepee tents on the frozen plains, with the wind howling, snow piling high, and temperatures plunging below -30. And they didn't just survive, they slept. No walls, no insulation foam, no heated floors. Just poles, hides, fire, and ancestral knowledge. How did they pull it off? That's what we're uncovering today. 7 ingenious survival hacks that turned flimsy-looking tents into life-saving sanctuaries. When a storm rolled in, the first decision was always where to pitch camp. It wasn't random. It was survival science. They never set up in open plains. The winds there could cut through hides like glass. Instead, teepees went near tree lines or behind ridges, where natural windbreaks reduced exposure. Some hugged cliffs or boulders that absorbed sunlight during the day, then released it as heat at night. Others tucked into shallow valleys, shielded from gusts. Though knowledge mattered here because valleys could also trap cold air like a freezer. Fuel was another factor. Firewood wasn't optional. No wood meant no warmth. Campsites were chosen with a mental map of deadfall and brush within reach, ensuring the fire could burn through the longest nights. It was survival real estate. Location, location, location. Except the stakes weren't about property values. They were about life or death. Now picture this. A teepee of hides and poles standing in a snowstorm. Inside, a fire glows in the center. Sounds insane, right? A fire inside a fabric tent? But it worked. The genius was in engineering. Fires were dug into shallow pits, about 6 inches deep, to contain sparks while letting heat circulate. Above, smoke flaps at the teepee's peak acted like chimneys. Adjusting them according to wind created perfect draft systems. Cold air slipped in through bottom vents, hot smoke rose out the top. What you had was primitive HVAC, built without blueprints or machines. But it wasn't set and forget. Adults rotated night shifts as fire tenders, adjusting logs, tending embers, watching sparks. Too much fire risked disaster. Too little, and children froze. It was constant attention, but it meant the teepee breathed, ventilated, heated, and safe all winter long. The deadliest thief of heat wasn't always the air, it was the frozen earth beneath. Sleeping on bare ground is like lying on an ice block. Your body heat drains away no matter how many blankets you have. Native families solved this by engineering their floors. First, woven willow mats created a springy base. Their weave trapped insulating air pockets. On top, dried grasses piled thick, blocking frost. Finally, hides, buffalo or elk, fur side up, leather side down. The fur trapped heat, while the leather sealed drafts. Some even compacted soil during the day, letting it absorb warmth, then release it slowly overnight, a natural, radiant floor. And when that wasn't enough, heated stones, smooth river rocks baked in the fire, wrapped in hides, then slid beneath bedding. All night long they radiated stored heat, turning the floor into a primitive, heated mattress. Body heat was the ultimate heater. Families understood that better than anyone. They didn't spread out. They curled together, kids, parents, grandparents, forming a human heat battery. The arrangement was strategic. Vulnerable members, children and elders, slept in the center, closest to the fire and wrapped in the thickest hides. Adults formed an outer ring, their own warmth shielding the group. It was geometry with life or death stakes. And it worked. Science shows that huddling can raise shared temperature dramatically. Penguins use it. Humans perfected it. Layering mattered too. Soft processed hides went against the skin to wick moisture. Thick fur created insulation. Outer hides blocked drafts. It was the onion system, long before mountaineers thought of it. And one golden rule guided it all. Don't sweat. Damp clothes kill faster than cold air, so families warmed up before bed, but avoided exertion. Survival wasn't about brute strength. It was about knowing how to manage the body's heat. When hides weren't enough, native survivalists went straight to the skin. They smeared buffalo tallow, bear fat, or deer fat on exposed areas, sealing warmth in and blocking icy winds. Then came the ash. Mixed with fat, it became a thermal paste. The carbon absorbed heat from flames and radiated it back. Families smeared it on faces, wrists, and ankles, pulse points where circulation mattered most. Kids especially got treated this way, since their small bodies lost heat fastest. It wasn't vanity. It wasn't ritual. It was survival skincare. Primitive to us, but effective enough to mean the difference between waking up healthy or frostbitten. Forget fashion. This was survival couture. Buffalo hides were the crown jewel, massive, heavy, and warm enough to feel like wrapping yourself in the furnace itself. One buffalo robe could weigh 30 pounds, but was priceless in a blizzard. Deer and elk hides filled in as lighter layers. Then came rabbit fur quilts. Soft, fluffy, and air-trapping, rabbit pelts stitched together became the original thermal blankets. Fragile, yes, but when layered, they were incredibly effective. Moccasins, too, became survival tech. Stuffed with grasses or moss, they created natural insulation boots. Changed daily to keep dry, they kept feet, most vulnerable to frostbite, alive. It didn't look pretty, but ugly warmth beats fashionable frostbite every time. The weakest always slept safest. Children and elders took prime spots closest to the fire. They were swaddled in double or triple hides. Heated stones were tucked near their feet or backs, radiating localized warmth all night. Adults gave up comfort, losing sleep tending flames and checking hides, all to protect those most at risk. In a world without hospitals or backup generators, family became the safety net. Love wasn't just emotional warmth, it was literal heat. Every hug, every shared layer, every midnight fire check was a lifeline. Blizzards weren't the only danger. Winter also brought predators closer. Wolves, bears, and mountain lions prowled snow-hushed landscapes looking for prey. Dogs were the first alarm system, not pets, working guardians that could distinguish between threats. Their growls told families exactly what danger lurked outside. Inside, weapons were never far. Spears, bows, and knives were kept within arm's reach, ready to grab in seconds. Even snow became defense. Piled into berms, it funneled predators into predictable paths. Trenches confused tracks and scents. The teepee wasn't just shelter. It was fortress survival, engineered in the middle of storms. Before crawling into hides, some families used sweat lodges, small dome huts filled with red-hot stones and steam. It wasn't luxury, it was survival prep. Heating the body to a high core temperature before bed meant blood stayed warm longer, circulation strong. Sweating dried damp clothes and skin, critical when dampness meant death. Think of it as charging the human battery to full before the long night. A spa ritual? Not quite. It was survival science, centuries ahead of its time. Here's the greatest secret. Native families didn't see winter as the enemy. They didn't curse it. They respected it. Instead of resisting, they adapted. If a camp grew too windy, they moved. If storms hit, they sealed hides tighter, adjusted smoke flaps, or changed routines. Their weather forecast wasn't an app. It was clouds, winds, and animal signs read with expert eyes. That mindset, flexibility, and respect was the foundation of survival, and it worked. Morning broke. The storm had passed. Inside the teepee, the family stirred, children alive, elders warm, adults tired but proud. Proof their system worked. No central heating, no electricity, just knowledge passed down like treasure. Knowledge that weighed nothing but saved everything. So, here's the challenge. Could you survive one night in a teepee with only fire, hides, and hot stones? Or would you tap out before midnight? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because whether it's 600 years ago or tomorrow's blackout, storms don't care about comfort. But knowledge? That's what keeps you alive.